Hello, this is going to be a quick review of the HTC One. I've had this phone for about a month now, and I figured I'd go ahead and offer up a review from a user standpoint. It's not going to be technical, it's just going to be some things that I've noticed about the phone since I've had it over the course of the last month, and things I like and things that I don't like. First, let me say that overall I'm pleased with the phone. I typically go for simplicity when it comes to the cell phones that I use. Even I've had big screen phones since the first one came out. I used HTC way back in 2008 when that first big screen phone was real glitchy, and from there I've just progressed. I went to Samsung for a little while. I'm actually filming this with a Samsung Galaxy 2, and let me tell you that the switch that I made back to HTC, I will tell you that I'm happy, and I'll let you know those things that I'm happy about. First, the first glitchy thing, I don't know if it is or not, if this is how this phone is supposed to be. You can see here, that's the lock screen. Okay, so right there I'm just scrolling through, and as you can see, just scrolling through the pages I've set up. I'm pretty simple with mine. Calculator, this is a calendar, even though it's whited out. Let me go back. Here I have all the apps that I tend to use. This is a place, Google Play, Bible, social, which is emails and Facebook and Twitter, things like that. And other things I use like the Metro app, Maps, things like that. Now, going over, oops, let me come out of there. Scrolling over, I have music, Pandora. One thing I like about HTC, which I despised about Samsung, is that on Samsung there's no radio. Here I have a radio app, and then I have TuneIn and Google Play Music. Now, see that black screen? See, let me switch back to it. See that black screen? That's blink feed. I don't know whether this is supposed to be like this, but one thing I've noticed is that if the phone goes to sleep mode for any period of time and you come back to it, what you're going to end up with is this black screen. Now, you hit this highlight button and you have all these choices depending on what you pre-selected. I pretty much just go for whatever news is. I actually like blink feed. You hit that and poof, I had a text message come in. Just ignore that for a second. But there you have it. It'll stay up here for the while that you have the phone out of sleep mode. But if this phone goes back to sleep mode, blink feed disappears. I like blink feed, even though you can't change it. There's nothing you can't like get rid of it. Let's go to customize home screen. Okay, so here we're in the customize home screen mode. Let me show you something like this. Is something else that's real odd. Now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 home pages. First of all, you can't watch this. I'm going to go ahead and activate this one and try to move it over. You can't do that. It's just gonna, why this thing lifts off and is able to be moved is just beyond me, because you can't move. The only thing you can do to this is get rid of it. Fix that, HTC. That's one of the reasons why Android users use Android. Is like we love freedom. These widgets, these widgets that they have, I use some of them, like the music widgets, but for the most part, outside of the calendar and the calculator, I haven't made much use of the widgets. Even when I had been using Samsung primarily, I didn't use these widgets. I don't like them. tell you the truth. One of the widgets I do keep handy is the one that gives me the option of pressing on and off my Wi-Fi. It just gives you quick access. So for the most part, I just keep the little app buttons available, and I make my little folders. Outside of that, the widgets, I would say 90% of them I'm not using. The other thing I've noticed about the phone is that it will lock up. And primarily the one time it locks up is when I'm playing Real Racing 3, which right now Real Racing 3 and X-Plane are the two games that I use. Well, I guess you would call them simulators or games. One's a simulator, one's a game that I use primarily. And I've noticed that while I'm playing Real Racing 3, that if I go to look at the news, or if I get a text message and I go back to Real Racing 3, there are times where the game will lock up, and then the next thing I know, the phone is frozen and I will have to turn it off and turn it back on. It doesn't happen a lot to the point where it gives me a headache or anything like that, but just be aware that it does happen. I still would suggest that anybody that's thinking about getting an Android phone, that they go with this phone before they get another one. As far as its performance, I think performance is no better than the network you're on. It operates great on Wi-Fi. If you have a strong Wi-Fi signal, this phone it's smooth like hot butter on steaming hot toast. It's flawless. Now, however, if you're bouncing around and your 3G signal happens to be weak, or you can't get 4G LTE, it can get kind of sketchy if you're using apps, you know. Primarily when I'm walking around, I'm just listening to music or whatnot. I want to be sure not to violate anybody's copyrights. I wanted to play something so you could hear the boom sound, the two speakers that are here and here, but I don't want to be playing music and then not be able to monetize my video. So I'm going to just avoid doing that. I will tell you that I do not use the Beats Audio. If you see there at the bottom, this phone has the Beats Audio emblem. I'm going to tell you why I don't use it, and you can check this out for yourself if you ever go to one of the stores that carry the HTC One. It just sounds like the music or the audio is muffled when you turn it on, like it's toned down. So I've tried it numerous times. I flip the Beats Audio on and listen, then I flip it off and the sound cuts down. I'm going to tell you something. This is the best sounding phone I've ever had when it comes to audio. If I'm watching movies on my Netflix, which I do a lot of Netflix, being on Sprint and having that unlimited data, I watch a lot of movies, whether I'm buying or renting movies through Google, or if I'm just simply watching television on Sprint TV, which I watch a lot during football season because we get college football games on the ESPN channel, and it comes through beautifully. But the sound is three-dimensional. No more of that rear-facing speaker tinny sound. This sound is rich, it's full, and it fills up the room. You know, on Sundays when I'm having church in my house and I put my gospel music on, my God, it sounds great. I will tell you that if you are peeved about the sound of your phone, you will be pleased with the sound of the HTC One. Again, it's smooth. The apps work great. I use my phone to communicate through social media, take care of my finances, such as banking, my multimedia. You can see here this folder I just opened up. I have Netflix, Play Movies, Fandango, which I buy my movies when I'm walking down the street. I haven't used Watch yet. YouTube, Sprint TV. I have my gallery for my pictures and my videos that I make. TuneIn Radio, Shazam, so I can identify songs, play music, X-Plane, and Real Racing. So I have a lot of multimedia, and they all work great. In my browser and my exercising app, bodybuilding.com, dictionary, Wikipedia, news, which is CNN, NBC, Score Center, and which is the ESPN app, and Radar. This Radar app is great. It lets me know when the lightning strikes or rain are coming. As you can see, I have no Fox News. No Fox News on my phone. But these apps work great, and one of the stations that helped me decide which phone I was going with, I have a CNET folder. CNET is a great resource for technology news. I'm not saying that they're the only one, but I think they're pretty thorough, realizing that a lot of the technology reporters that are out there are in cahoots with the manufacturers. I still think that they did a great job reviewing this phone. And from a user standpoint, even though the phone has some issues like blink feed going black, the phone locking up, those are two, I saved the worst for last. This phone will overheat. You can't take the battery out. You can't remove it. Okay? Because it's one piece. Because this phone is so well constructed, I mean, it is a beautiful piece of machinery. If you ever get a chance to hold this phone in your hand, the one thing you're going to notice about this phone in comparison to a Samsung phone is that it makes a Samsung phone feel like a toy. This phone is real. I like the weight of it. You know, when I hold it in my man hand, oh, I love that. I love that feeling. It feels real. It feels like a piece of equipment, a piece of machinery. However, me listening to music and playing Real Racing 3 at the same time for an extended period of time, I have an app on my phone called Antivirus. With Antivirus, I just hit it. You see here, it says performance. On performance, it'll tell me the health of my battery. So I've just clicked that on. I have it signal to tell me when the power reaches 30%, and it tells me the health of my battery. Right now it says the temperature is 101 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. I'm not charging. I have 41% and the health is good. If this phone were overheating, it would tell me health overheating. And I'm going to tell you, when this phone is overheating, you want to put it down. It feels, and it doesn't take long for it to cool off, but understand that the HTC One overheats, and it overheats a lot with high use. If you're just using it for normal things like web browsing or you're talking on the phone, I've never had any instances of it overheating. I do, however, play a whole lot of Real Racing 3. I'll be doing a review of Real Racing 3 with some tips later on. But let me tell you, I have not had any issues with location. I keep my location on. You know, I want you to find me in case I come up missing. I don't have anything to hide, realizing that cell phone technology is regulated by the government. They're going to find you if they want to. They can listen if they want to. So you might as well turn it on. It helps the apps work better anyway. And if you're out there trying to travel around and you use your map app like I have right there, it helps that map app, and your turn-by-turn instructions work a whole lot better. And plus, it's designed to work hand-in-hand with the phone. So I would tell you, I haven't had any issues. I haven't done any NFC with it. I haven't used Bluetooth. or any auto sync. I keep all my auto sync off. Like, say for example, Facebook and Twitter, I refuse to allow Facebook and Twitter to sync to my phone. I did that when I used to be on Samsung back in the day, and originally with HTC. And I learned the hard way that you will get an update of what anybody and everybody's doing on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram for that matter if you sync your phone to these social networks. I think these phones were built for social networks, and if you want real privacy, the last thing you should be worried about is your location. The one thing you want to be worried about is those social media apps, and I tend to keep my syncing off. For the most part, I don't know as far as scoring excuse me, what I would give this phone, but if it's 10 out of 10, that's what this phone gets. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Even with the problems, it's worth it. From the construction to the smoothness and the reliability, I realize that it's not the phone's fault if I have a weak 3G, 4G LTE signal. It's not the phone's fault. The phone can only perform to its ability based on the strength of the signal I have. But if I happen to go to Starbucks, or if I'm at one of my jobs where Wi-Fi is available, let me tell you, this phone is reliable. It's never let me down. There was an update that came through, and let me tell you, it has the best sound when it comes to voice communications. You can hear crystal clear even when it's windy. You might have to take the headphones off and talk directly into the phone, but even the wind does not stop you from being heard. So I've talked a little long here, but I'll end it there, and I will again say, from a user standpoint, this phone, aside from the inability to switch the home screens around, I still give the phone a serious thumbs up. And again, the other thing, lastly, the camera. I don't know why I ever went with a camera that's got 13 megapixels after using this camera on the HTC. This camera works beautifully. I forget what they call it, the ultra pixels or whatever. You know, I'm just not that technical. What I will tell you is that this phone takes beautiful, beautiful pictures. They're gorgeous. I took some pictures of my sister while she was here in town. I don't know how well the pictures will show up on the phone, but like, I live here in Washington, D.C. There's a picture of my mother and my nephew standing in front of the Martin Luther King Memorial. Excuse my blender back there in the background, but beautiful, beautiful pictures. So you can ditch the pixels and go with ultra. Here's the leather case that I bought with the phone. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. So, like, say if I'm watching a movie, it locks in real simply, like so, and it stands up and whatnot. And when I'm not using the phone, I can close it and cover it. And let me tell you, I've dropped my phone already and whatnot, so it's been blessed. I dropped it and it came away scratch free. I tried not to drop my phone. I've been better, and when I cracked the screen on the S2, I do have a little scratch here from my keys. That's the one thing you want to make sure you do. Because of the aluminum construction, keep keys or any metal objects in your pocket away from this phone unless it's in the cover. And so that's it. That's my review of the HTC One. Feel free to comment. I know I was a little winded, but I think I got my point across. You all have a nice evening or a nice day wherever you are.